Hello, this is Jeff Segor, and this is the 6th video in this series on creating a website with a front end and a back end using a recipe manager. So where we left off, we created two indices for our recipe manager. And now what I'm going to do, so far all this code is not public, and so I'm going to show how this is done. So part of this you wouldn't do yourself. This is just making this project available for the public to go along with this public video series. But part of this is to show how you can clone an existing project on GitHub and then start and look at the code, because much of this video you can't put in the information I have. It just goes by the screen too fast. So it's good to have the source code. Also, I'd forgotten to check in the changes to last code. And what we're going to do is at the end of each video, check in what we've changed and then set a tag for that associated with the video. So what we'll do is check in and stamp it with video 5. So also, I'm going to show you how to actually create a repo on the GitHub remote site and how to attach it to our local repo. So, shall begin. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my account and I'm going to create a new project name, and I'm going to do that first. It's going to be a blank one, and then I'm going to associate our pre-existing local one and attach it and push it up there. Hopefully this will work. I haven't done this for a while. So we have talked about that. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go to a website. And I'm going to go to my repositories on GitHub. It's the name is Segor. And so I'm going to create a new account. Most of my other accounts are private. This one will be public. So we'll do this, and hopefully this will work. And yeah, let's see. Okay, so I can use underscores. So I'm going to call this the same name as we have. Recipes. Call this. It's going to be public, and this is going to be a source code for the README. We're not going to create that. We can create that locally. So now I'm going to create this repository. I think we got everything set up. It's going to be public. Yeah, you won't be able to change it, but you'll be able to clone it. You have to get special privileges to actually change it. So I've done this. Now it gives you this little information and how to attach it to your local. What we're going to do is grab these two, and I'm going to, instead of this main, I'm going to call it master, because that was the name of our branch, master. So here's the pushing an existing repository. So I'm going to grab this stuff here. I think I only need the top and the bottom of these. So I'm going to put this into a notepad. This will be the full URL name for this project. And when we make this call, what this will do is it'll store this information in a config file in the .git directory. So if we go to, let's see if we can create another command. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this using git bash. So I'm going to bring up, instead of the git GUI, I'm going to bring up a bash, a terminal for the git information. And I will go to, it's a little bit different than DOS. I'm going to go to my C direct drive, go into development. It's case sensitive, so I have to be careful here. Oh, and before I do this, there is something I want to commit, so I'll just put this aside for now. Go back to our we'll go back to our project, which is where is it? It's right here. So I added this directory in here. What I want to do is this thing is going to be the slides that you're looking at right now. And this will change in time as well. So as I go through this tutorial, I make changes to it. And this is in the PDF format rather than the slide format. So that'll be useful information. So if you look here, there's 3 files which have not been checked in. And so we can either check it in through here, or we can check it in using the Git GUI. I'm going to use the Git GUI for now. And when you see it blank like this without any text on the little icon, that means these are all new files. So we're going to stage it. There's 3 untracked. These will be stored into, and we'll say this will be adding the tutorial slides. So that's what our changes are. We're going to commit those. Oh, and there's one other change I'm going to do as well, since I'm here. So we'll go to our source code. I had some temporary code that I put in. We go under source, app, and under our HTML, I'm going to get rid of this code here. So that was just there as a kind of a demo. I'm going to leave the router because this is the way when we actually start doing routing, this is so it knows where to actually replace components. So now we'll have 4 cards that have changed. 4 files have changed. And back to here, rescan. And you'll see that this icon looks a little different. That shows it's been changed. I'll click on that. I'll go in here, it's checked, and then I will commit this. So now we're all up to date in our local repo. Now we're going to finish the GitHub initialization. So we'll go back to our command line, wherever that is. Let's see if we can find that. So that's here. And we're going to issue this command. So yeah, so we're going to go into the project, and it's going to be at the parent project, not the recipes project itself. So go recipes tutorial. Now you'll notice when we actually initialized our Git repo under this, not under DOS, but under this special command, this git bash, you'll actually see that this will be the indication that this will represent the branch itself. So we got just one branch, and it's called master. And we saw that when we were looking at the Git GUI. So I'm going to issue a command here. If we do, if we look at our config file, so if we do cat config, it's very small right now, but this is sort of the configuration for Git. And you don't see any information in here sort of linking back to the GitHub. That's the purpose of this command. I'm going to paste here. Now, oops, there we go. In order to paste into this window, you have to do a Control-Shift-Insert key. A little different than DOS. So we're going to, this is the public address of the repo that's empty right now. And I'm going to associate this particular repo that's local with that. And now if we do look at the config, it's actually stored that information here. So now it's got the URL, so it knows. So when we actually do a push, it knows where to push it up to. And then to push our results up there right now, we can use this command. And generally what we're going to do is do a git push from here after push origin, and it's not going to be main, it's going to be master. So it's going to be this is the branch that we're working on. I'm going to push that up. So now, if we switch back to our site, the GitHub website, we should actually see some of our files up there. So we should be all up to date. There's some Git commands. If you do Git status, it will tell you, whether or not, for example, the idea is that you could have multiple developers and they could be checking in and so forth, and you can see sort of the status of different people changing, making changes, merging their changes. So now if we go back to our go back to this. And now if we click on our project, we'll see that we've actually got all of our basic directories automatically up here. So the beauty of this now is this is public, and that what that means is you can now follow along. Now I'm going to be putting, since we have just committed this, I'm going to add tags to that's interesting, it says 0 tags. I thought we added a tag, but let's look what's going to happen. So this is up here, all the source code. You can actually look at it online and so forth. So it's public to look at, and you're able to clone this. And I'll do that a little bit later to show how you can bring this code down. There's no README, but we'll add a README locally and then eventually put that up there. Under my site, if you look at the repositories, this is my first public one. All these areas are private. You should be able to see this. You'll see that the code is primarily TypeScript, although it won't be exclusively that. You go into here, and then you can, the way you can clone it is to go through here. But we'll do that shortly. Now that's up there. Let's go to our Git GUI, and now look, look at our master's history, and now we can see I've added a tag to our initial commit, and then I made some changes here, and this is associated with, I think video 5 was our last video. And so I'm going to add a tag called video 5. So essentially the tag will be associated with the changes at the end of that particular video. We're on video 6. So to do that, click on here. I think you click on, let's see, where do we do that? Yeah, do it here where the comments are. And add tag, and I'm going to say video 5. So, let's see. So these are our repositories. So keep in mind these are actually separate. So if I make a whole bunch of changes and I commit them, you won't see them. You won't see them automatically published up here. You actually have to do a formal push, the Git push. So you can do a lot of changes locally, and then when you're ready, you do that. Then someone else can essentially do a combination of fetch, a Git fetch that can bring down the changes, and then can merge those changes in. And we'll go into that a little later. Yeah, and what I need to do is show you how to clone it so that you can restore. You'll notice that the modules, if we go into recipes, the node modules was not checked in by design, because it gets reconstructed. So to do that, you go in and you can copy this, or you can zip, download as a zip, and then from the command line. So let's go to a directory. So let's go to our Git bash, and let's go to a different directory. The temp3. These commands are a little bit different. Instead of dir ls, it's a Unix command to see if this is an empty directory. And so if we do git clone and then use this URL, this should be able to clone that. And now we got all that source code that we've done. We've got this in a new directory. Now, what do we do? How do we run it? Right now, if you go into, let me do this from, let's go back here. Let's go into, do a list. So going to Jeff. You need to go down into the Angular level. If you do ls, we can see our packages and stuff. And right now we have no modules, so this thing will not run. So in order for this to work, we need to do an npm install. What it'll do is it'll look into this package.json file and install all the required modules. So this took a little longer than I thought. Anyways, 109 packages are installed. Now if we run our ng serve from here, ng version. I'm going to do this instead of using the Git Bash. I'm going to do this from a DOS command. And let's see, I'm going to do this from here again. Okay, so now I'm going to do ng-serve. For some reason, there's an issue with trying to do this Angular from the bash command. I don't know exactly why. So I'm doing this from probably because the environment variables are different, and you need the correct DOS environment variables for this to work. So this was successful. So now this is our little proxy server, and now if we should get a sort of a blank website if we use the local host. So which is what we get. We haven't created the server yet with our computer IP address, so we can't use that yet. That will be the next step. But this shows how you can completely download the code, and it'll actually run. It's blank right now, but we will add our beginning GUI. This was all successful. It reconstructed. So if we go into that directory, so let's go into this temp directory. You'll see that all the node modules were reconstructed. So that was the reason why you didn't have to upload this to check any of these files in. So you can completely reconstruct it, and it knows how to do that by this package JSON file. So okay, we're up to 22 minutes. This is kind of important information. So now you can, oh yeah, also just want to show that you can clone this, and under this tutorial you can go into the documentation, and now you can actually that's probably so. If you open this up, you've got a PDF format of all of our slides. So that's now available. So if you had some information, also you will have direct access to the schemas, so you can put that into Cabana. So anyways, this video wasn't perfect, but now we have a public version of this tutorial, and we'll continue next on making the server, complete the code to make this into a real server rather than a proxy server. So until next time, happy computing.